Welcome to it, the Bassmaster Elite Series Winning Ways Show, where we take these victories that are so hard to achieve in these 9 regular season events, plus the postseason, talk to the winners, and maybe unlock a few secrets on how they were able to pull off something that's very hard to do running with this fast crowd, Davey.
Absolutely. It's very hard to hold that blue trophy over your head. You have to do it for 4 days against the best fishermen in the world. A lot of diverse fisheries we've been to, some legendary places like a Lake Guntersville, some places like a Winyah Bay where you have to determine whether you're going to stay close and save time or run a long way. But this is great. Unlock the lake, figure out what these guys do to hold that blue trophy over their head.
This is edition number 3. This is the final 1/3 of the season. So let's start with our Yamaha Unlock the Lake at our first destination, and that is going to be Lake Guntersville on the Tennessee River. There it is right there. A legendary place. The Tennessee River gives us a lot of great fishing lakes, but something about Lake Guntersville, Davey, is really special.
Well, it's special because it's so diverse, a lot of vegetation, but then you have the ledges, especially in the summer like we're there now. But here's one thing important to think of. It's the last of June, the very end of June. Those fish go out on those deep ledges. We've seen a lot of tournaments there caught in early June. A lot of those bigger fish caught out really deep. This vegetation, as you see here in this picture, has come along, and a lot of those fish move back in shallow. It'll be interesting to see if the shallow water fisherman prevails or those deeper water fishermen out on those ledges.
Well, we only have 10 anglers on the final day. Starting in 10th place was this man right here, Jamie Hartman, and he would hold the trophy at the end of the day.
16 pounds, 7 ounces! 16-7, Jamie Hartman has done the impossible. Get loud, finally he has done it! Jamie the Hammer Hartman! We recommend everybody seek safety. Seek shelter.
Well, how about that weigh-in? One of the wildest of all time, not just because of the tightness of the score, the kind of surprise ending for a lot of people, but because of, as you saw there, the weather, which is ironic because the weather and reacting to the weather is what put our guest today, Jamie Hartman, on our Winning Ways show today. That's part of the story, isn't it? Reacting to weather.
The final day. One of the most important parts of what we do.
Absolutely. Well, let's start from the beginning. What was the intel, your pre-practice and practice? How did that tell you that this was not the same Guntersville that you go to in March or April or May?
Well, first off, I'm not familiar with Guntersville very much. That was my first time actually fishing it. I did go down and drive around it for a couple days, did my graph in, set myself up for the offshore ledge bite. That is it. Never took a rod out of the rod box, never made a cast, never looked at grass, never stayed shallow, none of that stuff. So I plan to fish deep. It's the 3rd week into June. It's Guntersville. It's hot. Man, they're going to be on ledges,
River,
right?
Ledge Fest, right? Just like an old school
all the research
beat
I've
down.
done. You know, I did a lot of research on it, which is a big part of what we do instead of spending time there. And everything said it's lining up. It's going to be a ledge bite. I watched all them past videos and everything, and it's a ledge bite, and I was looking forward to it because that's my deal. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Then we got to the first day of the tournament, and that was a complete opposite of the weather we've had all 3 days of practice. So it was absolutely slick, calm, and very hot, and it changed my whole bite.
20 pounds and 4 ounces for the Nitro Bass Pro Shops Pro from Newport, New York.
Made that top 10 by 2 ounces.
2 ounces.
2 ounces. Up from 46th place, though, so that's impressive. You had to be.
I was sweating.
Were you thinking this could be my deal here? But you're in 10th place. What are you thinking to start that final day? 7 pounds and change back of the leader.
I just said, well, I guess my intuition was wrong because I had a crazy intuition before the event even started. Before I even left the house to go start practice, I mentioned to my girlfriend that I said, I'm gonna win this event and I'm gonna come back here. Got a lot of stuff running through my brain on where to go and what to do, how to adjust with this weather. So not knowing the lake very well, it's kind of tough. I've got some ideas, so if they work out, great. If they don't, it's like a little scouting trip for me. So it's worked so far. I mean, coming back from day one with having abandoned in my whole deal, so it's been working. I'll run off my instincts like I always do and see if I can make an adjustment, that's all.
So let's talk about that first hour. Final day.
It's crazy. I drove up to Goose Pond in the morning, and as I come across the bridge by the launch, that wind was coming out of the south-southwest, and it was blowing hard. And I seen the waves out there and everything. I said, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do now? You know, I had a game plan for the flipping thing, and I'm like, I'm not gonna sit on the main river channel in this crazy wind we were supposed to get and be able to punch mats. You know, it's tough. So I knew I was gonna start in my same spot. I didn't know what I was gonna do, but that feeling like it was really, really cloudy that morning. The wind was blowing, kind of subsided at takeoff a little bit. And I pulled that rod out of my box and laid it on the deck. And I just had that feeling like they're gonna eat this topwater bait.
Yeah.
I needed something with some noise, and I needed something that was gonna spit some water. And it was a perfect, you know, idea that came up. And boy, when I started making them first few casts, it clicked real fast, and we made it work.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, stay on there, baby. Stay on there. Here she comes. Ugh.
Man, he straight lined me. As soon as he hit, he was like, gone. Gotta make sure how they're good to hook before I can even think of swinging them in, man. I lost a giant on day 2. I fought her all the way to the boat, and then she just popped out right there. So just take it easy with them, they'll come in.
We got some beautiful pictures of this place you were fishing. You might even call it a community hole. It's a gorgeous grass line. And most of the places in Guntersville are community holes. Everybody knows. But describe this for us and what made it good.
It was a big, long stretch, I guess. You know, afterwards, I've heard it called the Miracle Mile, or, you know, it was referred to as that. I didn't know what it was called. You know, I didn't talk to anybody, or, you know, it never came up on any of the research that I did. So it just looked good when I drove by it in practice. And you just, you know, you start checking stuff out. And I made a couple casts in practice, and I got bit right away, like a 5 1/4 right off the bat. And then I felt the bottom where I was casting. I said, man, if this is all like this, I can really dissect this. And it wasn't.
No.
It ended up being in one little area. So I come back on day 3 of practice and checked it real early in the morning and got bit quick. Well, 2 heavy ones, I shook them off. I knew something was special there, and it was right there. I didn't know how many fish I'd catch. I didn't think I'd catch many, but I was gonna catch a couple key fish every day.
When you say small, talk about the real dimension. It was small, right?
10 yards, that's it. Out of all them miles, I had a 10-yard stretch that stood out to me. Not knowing, you know, exactly what it was, but it stood out to me that I could line up on it just right. And I dissected that bottom with my baits, especially the heavy football jig, and I was able to feel what was down there, where to cast and where not to cast. And those were the exact spot.
There's some bigs in here, boy. I know there's some bigs in here. Oh God, that's a big one. Oh my God. There's the 5-pounder, baby. Woo! Come on, get you a face full of that. How about that? I told you there were some bigs in here, boy. Whoo! She wasn't coming off either. This is how I wanted to start it. Whoo! That's a 5, baby. Starting it right. We're starting it right. This is the way I wanted to start today. This is what kept me up all darn night long. God, I love this sport. Whew, ain't nothing like it, man.
What grade would you give yourself on your execution? I didn't see any mistakes out there during that golden hour you had.
The golden hour was perfect. I can't. If we had an hour of perfect fishing, that was it. You know, I did miss one fish, but he missed my bait. You know, and I yanked it out of the water. It come at me 10 yards, and I made one twitch with it, and a 6.5 ate it. and I got him. So I executed every fish that bit me besides that one. I think I caught him afterwards too. Came in the boat.
Oh my God, it was a 5. Oh my God, I got him. Oh my God, that's bigger than the last one. Oh my Lord, stay on there, big girl. Please stay on there. That's bigger than the last one. I can't breathe, dude. I need oxygen right now. Don't do it, don't do it. Oh my God, oh my God. That's a 6-pounder, baby. Come on. Dude, did you see the first one that bit it? That was a 5. This 6-pounder come after that first one bit it. Whoo! Chokezilla, that's making an adjustment right there. Did I throw this bait? Nope. The weather calls for it. Let's shake that leaderboard up, shall we? Dude, I'm in 10th place and I'm shaking like this. It's just like, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like this feeling.
The Bassmaster Elite Series Winning Ways is brought to you by Skeeter Boats, Humminbird, Minn Kota, and by Talon.
Bassmaster Elite Series, our Winning Ways program, breaking down some of the great wins from the final third of the season. How about coming from 10th place all the way to the trophy, Jamie Hartman?
Let's shake that leaderboard up, shall we?
I made a quick decision to go. I said, you know, it came in my mind. I said, I think I've got one place. I'm going to have to fight the waves to get there, but I got one place I think I could make 5-10 casts and maybe catch a good one. And on my way there, I remembered, well, I thought about it before I left too. I can idle over my spot where I had a big school and I lost them because of the weather. And the wind was coming south-southwest, just like practice. So I clicked my other Lowrance on, my structure scan and down scan, and as I got around the corner, I dropped down, set my graph up, and I rolled over my waypoint. It was loaded. I spun around, I locked my trolling motor down, and just went to catching them. And it didn't take too long to catch that 429, I think it was.
Hey, little. Come on, there's bigger fish down there than that, dude. Oh, wait, he's not that little. Woo! I told you there's big marks down there. That's the ones we're after right there, buddy. I know they're down there. I seen them. They's big.
We sort of thought maybe that first year you were out with the Elite Series with the 2nd, the 3rd, the 7th, the 6th, that we would have you on Winning Ways. It took a little delay. You had to set out some time the next year. But how gratifying is it now to have reached what has to be a super important goal for you?
I just wasn't ready. I didn't feel like I deserved it at that point. And I've been like that my whole life. I work for what I get. And if it isn't hard work, I don't deserve it. And that seems to be the way it is. Things work out in the end if I put my time in and I work hard. But I don't want anything given to me. And I felt like I wasn't ready. That Cherokee one, I think I should have won. But, you know, it's more gratifying to put more hard work into the Elite Series. Especially after all the changes and everything. We're still here, I'm here. I love the Bassmasters, and now I get my win, and it's very gratifying.
Yeah, finally has done it! Jamie the Hammer Hartman!
Well, an unlikely scenario to be sure, going from 10th to 1st. on the final day. But incredibly, it would happen at the very next stop for the Bassmaster Elite Series, the St. Lawrence River and Micah Frazier.
25 pounds, 9 ounces, 25-9, and Micah Frazier rockets into the lead with 87 pounds and 4 ounces.
I feel like I've been fishing a long time, and you know, I'd already had a pretty good year. I finished third at Lake Hartwell and third at Lake Fork. Just thankful for those finishes, and you know, to start the day in the St. Lawrence River in 10th place and ended up winning. You couldn't have asked for a better place to win than the St. Lawrence River with that massive crowd, and just a crazy day, man. I don't really know what to say. It's just unreal. We've been there several times over the last 4 or 5 years, but really one thing keyed me into how I won this year. Last year we were there. On day one, I fished all day around a bunch of guys, and we all caught them pretty good, but I wasn't getting that many bites. You know, I was throwing a drop shot. That night I was thinking about it, and the next day I tried something a little bit different, a Ned head rig, and it was just night and day, you know, a lot better bite, and I caught like 24 pounds that day. The next day, caught another 20 plus pound stringer. You know, I was primed and ready to get back this year and try, you know, what I'd learned the year before, and it really paid off. We're gonna go out there and kind of do what I've been doing and just hope for a magical day. I don't really have any chance at doing anything moving up the leaderboard unless I catch 24, 25 pounds. So I know there's some big fish around where I'm fishing, and so I'm just gonna kind of stick in that area and hope for 5 big bites. I knew that Ned bait, that Ned dinger was the deal. By day 3, I was getting kind of zoned in on a couple of shoals that had better than average fish. All right, I'm gonna go back up to the top and drift again. I'll do that a lot today, just little short drifts. 90% of my bites would come from the upstream side as it slopes up on top of the shoal to, you know, about where the shoal falls off on the backside. For whatever reason, I had drifted across the shoal and I went back down into the kind of the eddy behind the shoal. We're gonna make another drift. And I was just thinking I probably should pull up and go to the top and drift again, and this fish bites. Yes, sir. That's a stud, dude.
It's the Bassmaster Elite Series Winning Ways program, taking a look at our tournament on the St. Lawrence River, the big smallmouth catch fest, and the Mercury move of the tournament. Micah Frazier coming from 10th place all the way to the win.
Yeah, I started day 4 in 10th place. Really, winning was not on my radar. I've had a lot of other, you know, closer opportunities where I actually thought I had a legitimate chance to win. It wasn't even a thought in my mind until about midway through the day, but really and truly my best case scenario was to just gain as many points as I could, and I was just thankful to have a top 10 finish. I like when they do that. Just stops. So before this tournament, Yum sent me, they were still on the runners, so like a big long thing straight out of the mold of Ned dingers. They're new baits. And so I sat there, me and my wife, we took them off the runners and put them in this bag. So I just had a big bag full of these things. I started the day catching them, you know, just right out of the gates. Every drift I'd catch 1 or 2, and early on in the day, like maybe 2 hours in, I had probably, you know, low 20s already, and I knew some of the leaders around me weren't catching them. Yes, sir. That's a stud, dude. A couple hours in, after I've already got probably 22 pounds in the live well, I catch one that's almost 6 pounds. Thank you, Lord. I don't even know what that thing weighs, but it's big. That's a slab of meat right there, guys. Biggest one I've caught all week. Goodness gracious. This is what I won the tournament on. And you just put that on a 1/4 ounce mushroom head with like a 1/0 hook, and I was just dragging it across those shoals, and to me, you know, when that thing, it just goes along the bottom and It's size and shape of a goby. Broke him off earlier. I broke him off earlier. You know, the current's moving so fast there that when this thing moves across those shoals, they don't really have time to look at it and think. They just react. It looks like a goby. That's a good one. That's a good one. We've gone to the St. Lawrence River several years in a row now, and we're slated to go back next year, which obviously I'm excited about it. I've had two solid finishes in a row now, and I really feel like I know how to catch them there. Oh. I think that one will help a little bit. Belly on that thing. No 2 years in a row have I been able to catch them in the same area. It's a good one. Going into next year, I'll have to keep an open mind and just look for that hot stretch of river that has those big 4.5, 5 pound smallmouth. That's been the key, you know, you just, for whatever reason, there's a stretch of river each year that's better than the rest of the river. And if you can get that dialed in and land in that area, then you have a good chance to win. That Ned style bait is really good here. A lot of people throw it, but it's just a good bait. I know a lot of guys I was fishing around, they were throwing like drop shots and stuff. I don't know, I feel I've got a lot of confidence in that bait, and that's really all I threw all week in practice and up until today in the tournament. Smallmouth just love it.
Looking for 21 even. 20 pounds and an ounce. 20 pounds and an ounce. And Micah Frazier comes from 10th place to the top of the leaderboard.
The Bassmaster Elite Series Winning Ways is brought to you by Mercury, Nitro Boats, Abu Garcia, and by Berkeley.
Bassmaster Elite Series Winning Ways ×2. It's hard enough to win a single one of these events, a single one of these blue trophies. To do it 2 times in the course of one season, we're seeing the guy who did it right here. We actually had to happen twice this year. Jamie Hartman, we had to go out in the parking lot and remind him to come back in because he's not done with Winning Ways yet. Congratulations, man. That's almost unthinkable to be able to do.
Thank you.
that.
I really appreciate it. I mean, the highlight of the season was the first one, and then to do it again is just absolutely amazing.
And let's talk about Cayuga real quickly at the start, because you sat right here at this desk and said, I just don't have many expectations. That place just doesn't click with me.
Yeah, it does. It's been a thorn in my side since the year 2000 when I started fishing, and it's gotten me every single time. I've had some good practices there and then just bombed the tournament. So I'm a different fisherman than I used to be, and I was hoping that was gonna, be in my brain and make me make those adjustments.
Well, it's certainly progression through the tournament. 31st place to 16th to start the final day in 4th place there. And we want to talk about the final day, but you made a big adjustment on that first day.
I caught a 4.5 relatively quick, and it keyed me in to keep plugging away in that area. I think they was just gonna filter to it, and that's what happened.
That was a big, flat feature. It drew most of the anglers, too. Big, flat, featureless area. That's the way the north end of the lake is. Now, what did you do to sort of fine-tune that area? I mean, because you got better at it each and every day.
You just envision. I'm really good at offshore envisioning what's under the surface. and without getting on my graph, which I did not do again during the tournament, I did it with my front graph on the trolling motor really slow, and I would make my marks, and I'd see where the high grass would come out and the high grass would stop. You'd get short grass, how far it would go south, how far it would go north, as I worked that area over and over, and I'd figure out where I was getting my bites. I just dissected it like that. I love doing that too, being very meticulous on what I'm fishing.
Yep. No, 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 no. It was 13 something, you know, right at 13 to 14, but I think that was just because of the grass. That was all that was changing on my front graph. It's only got one hook. And then when I got out of that higher grass and went to real short grass, I started there, and I wasn't 20 yards from that waypoint where I caught the 6.5. That's a 6.5, baby. Oh man, let's get it started. Yes. Oh my God, that's a 6.5. We are on the right track, baby. I didn't switch up a lot on the final day besides running that crankbait as long as I could to get that early morning bite. Cayuga has a good morning bite regardless, and you'll get a few hours out of it, and that's what seemed to happen. I caught them relatively quick when I got there, and then it just died off, and I was just chucking that thing and not getting bit, and it was calm, so I know what to do then. I picked up my drop shot and just started working it over, and that's when I started upgrading with solid fish. You know, the drop shot fish were the quality. Whew. Whew, 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 whew. This right here is why I throw the drop shot. You see where that fish is pegged? If nothing else goes wrong, you're gonna land that fish. Making headway.
End of the day, you had one, I guess, about 2 3/4 pound fish left in the live well, and you said, I gotta. You knew.
I did.
Somehow you knew that you had to catch another one.
No idea how, you just get that sick feeling, just like Guntersville. I just had that feeling.
So what did you do?
I've got that little fish in there. I've got room. If I catch a 4-pounder or better, I'm jumping up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. The same thing at Guntersville. I made an adjustment. I thought I could go south and bang some docks. It was perfect conditions for running docks.
Like I said, it's either up there or down here. I need one bite, I think. You know, it's a big bite, I get it, but.
Oh boy, when I went down there, I ran about 12 or 15 docks and I never got a bite. And then I started to panic. I was just, man, I gotta go. And I jumped in the boat and I headed back up there, and I think I got up there with about 20 minutes to spare, maybe 15, somewhere in there. I picked that crankbait right out and I started covering that deeper grass again, the short grass. Man, I think it was 16 minutes to go on the clock before I even had to be in, and I caught that.
Yes!
And the ironic thing about it, that winning fish at Guntersville, woo! I caught in the last half an hour.
Right.
That fish weighed 4.29. That last fish, 16 minutes to go, 4.29 on the dot. Was it meant to be?
You're scaring me.
I know.
It's too close to Halloween. Well, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Winning ways ×2 with the champ, Jamie Hartman.
Fear my heart, Carl Jacobson! At 35-3, looking for 13-4 to take the lead. 19 pounds, 12 ounces, 19-12, and with 54 pounds, 15 ounces, Carl Jacobson is your...
Carl, one of the wildest, craziest days we've ever seen on the water, capped off by that wild and crazy weigh-in. You're never going to forget your 35th birthday, I'm thinking.
Nah, that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life, no doubt. That is a day the greatest day of my life to date, and one I will never, ever forget.
Did you ever dream that your first win would come on a place like Tenkiller, one of these tough tournament places, rather than one of these free-for-alls, big bass things? And did you ever think it would happen here?
I've always had a feeling, always confident, like, you know, you're going to win and you've found the right fish. But this one, like I've never said to Kayla before I come in, I said, I think I can win this tournament with the way it was setting up, just such a challenging conditions.
Worked my whole life for this moment, soaking every second of it up.
And each day of the tournament, I kept learning, putting it together, and that last day just went to plan.
What was down there? Lay it out for us. It was kind of hard to see.
It was a bluff wall. I was looking for a bluff wall under the water, 22 to 35 feet, straight line contours, had to have rock. If it had a little bit of brush, it was even better. And it had to be outside the mouth of a major creek. And if I had all of those things in one, and then it came to a point, that little point right there was where I need to be making the cast. And my Humminbird Lake Master, that mapping showed me exactly where I need to be. And then the 360 showed me where to make the exact cast. When you're fishing the bank, think about how accurate you have to be when you're casting to a stump, a snag, you know, a laydown. Well, that's what I'm doing offshore with 360.
Big one, big one. Oh,
not just fan casting, hoping to get it. I'm making the exact cast. And when I was feeling that rock and feeling that brush and just crawling it through it, that's where the bite was coming.
Yeah, baby, yes! That's a birthday present. Boom!
That spot you saw me on, that first one, that was kind of my main spot. And 3 days in a row, I showed up there and I got a bite straight away. Now I got 5 other spots, but it's already 9, 10 o'clock. So that was where you saw me on day 4, learn from that. I got that bite, fished for 10 more minutes, pulled the trolling motor and ran to the next spot. And my plan was kind of do that rotation early and try and do it 3 or 4 times in the day. And in the end, I didn't need to, because that second spot turned into something pretty magical.
Those 3 in a row, that magical 7, those were the shots heard around the world right there. Walk us through.
Yeah, baby!
It was the least of my favourite spots. I didn't really want to go to it, but it was the closest. So I just ran across to it and I made that first cast. I crawled the jig through that tree and I got that bite.
3 more bites! Lifelong dream, come on!
I think I went 3 casts, nothing, and then back-to-back casts.
Big one. Yes!
You know, to catch them 2 back-to-back.
There he is.
As good as it sounds and you have in your head, you think if you had a day like that, it'd just be amazing, you'd be on cloud 9. It was the worst feeling in my whole career, having the 4 biggest fish, the winning fish, and not being able to catch that 5th one. Those 3 hours was like a big dark cloud just weighing over me, and I was like, it was terrible.
We're going to fish this last little hump, and then we're going to run all the way back to where we caught majority of those fish.
That 3-hour window between that last fish and not getting a bite was pretty heavy.
Talk about that smallmouth though, the one that nailed it down.
That's the bite that I will remember for the rest of my life. I can't explain it. And I fished that tree for 30 minutes, nothing. I just turned around and I made that cast to the tree. And I was trying to feel it, and the jig wasn't hitting it, so I thought I must have missed it, and I started to wind, you'll see, and I'm winding it in, and the jig hit the tree, and when it hit it, I sort of pulled up, and it bounced over the tree. I got it to come over, and I clicked the button to let it fall, and my line just laid flat on the surface. I didn't feel a bite. I didn't know if it was a fish. It was a gut instinct. I was like, one's got it, and I just wound down, set the hook.
Yeah, baby! Woo! Yes! 4-pound smallie! That could be a $100,000 fish right there. Waited my whole life to catch that fish.
And then we had another giant, just for a little insurance there.
I have to fish as hard as I can, because if I get beaten, I can say I did everything I could right into the end.
If they beat me now, there's nothing more I can do. The last Molex jig I had.
Before we go, let's check out your rig here. Show us your setup.
This rod and reel I've used from Guntersville right through, and I've literally never hardly lost a bass on it. It's a Miller rod's called Jig Freak Power. It's purpose built for a 3/4 ounce style jig. It just has the perfect tip. I could feel every little detail down there, every little stick, and then I could feel the humming in the line where they just had it. Like, that's how much detail you have to have. Shimano Corrado 200, fast retrieve 8.5. So I'm using the rod to crawl it, and then the fast retrieve to keep up on that line when I set the hook. And 16-pound fluorocarbon gamma straight through. And then the big key was this prototype jig from Molex. It comes from their finesse style jig that I've been using for years, and they've put it into a bigger mop style jig, just a bigger body, so it just comes through everything. It doesn't get stuck. And just had the Rage Craw trailer. I was covering it in like a crawdad oil scent. Those fish get in there and they get that waft of scent, and it's just gives them no second guessing to eat the jig.
You have to think, and everyone I've asked says you win that first one, it makes the next one a little bit easier to navigate.
Yeah, for sure. This one, like when I said, when I landed that smallmouth, when I grabbed it, the weight of the world came off my shoulders. Something I've never ever felt before in my life, but it just solidified everything I've ever done for the last 20 years fishing. Every turnaround, every little time I've wanted to give up, all that is gone.
That's the way you do it. Far out. Gotta get myself together.
Carl Jochimson winning ways, and probably the most incredible winning day we've ever seen watching this, the Bassmaster Elite Series. Congratulations, Carl.
Thanks, Tommy.
Unforgettable.
I appreciate it.
First time in history, an Elite Series title goes down.
The Bassmaster Elite Series Winning Ways is brought to you by Triton Boats, Toyota, Yamaha, and by Power Pole.
Welcome back to our Bassmaster Winning Ways program, and we have reached the end of the 2019 Bassmaster Elite Series. That means it's postseason time, when we went to incredible Lake St. Clair, the legendary smallmouth factory, to settle several bits of important business, not only just Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, but entry into the Bassmaster Classic for 2020 and Dick's Sporting Goods Rookie of the Year. And it would be Florida's Drew Cook. What an incredible season, a season in which he also spent time atop the leaderboard for Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year. A more than impressive performance among a field of outstanding rookies in 2019. And how about this tournament right here? What a show by Seth Fighter.
Needs to be 21 pounds, 9 ounces, 26 pounds, 12 ounces, 26-12. And the amazing Fighter Man is your brand new leader.
That was fun. I was honestly not on anything, and it's gonna sound dumb. I had a really bad morning at 4 little bitty ones, and I was going to like a buoy just to like catch a 3-pounder off of it, and I picked up a Rapala DT10, fired it off the side of the boat, caught a 4-pounder, sat there for, that all went down in half an hour, just every cast. It was insane.
Well, what a bar set by Seth Fighter on day number 1, over 26 pounds of smallmouth bass. And on day number 2, it was definitely more of the same.
Yeah! Oh, freaking Magnum. Biggin, that's the update. Oh, no. Yeah. 5-pounder? Biggin. Come here, dude. Yes. There he is. Freaking giant, dude. Yeah. Freaking Magnum. Biggin. Oh, he might be bigger than 5. That's a great big one. Oh my God, he's huge. He is freaking huge. Let me get you. Oh, freaking giant, dude.
We're done. Yeah?
24 pounds, 13 ounces, 24-13, and with 51 pounds, 9 ounces, the amazing fighter man is once again your tournament leader.
Big one, too. Stay on, baby. Stay on. He came off, he's doing so much crazy head shaking. He got it pretty good. Come on. Don't do nothing crazy. Come here. How fat is he? Yeah! Let's go. Let's go. Frickin' 5-pounder right off the bat. Gonna be a good day. How about that for the first one? Look at him. Frickin' 5.5. Give me some. Mama!
But what an incredible performance by Seth Feider. Seth Feider, who already has a trophy from a Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year season-ending tournament in his trophy case. A great performance showing us the full potential of Mille Lacs Lake in Minnesota. And that is exactly what he did here in Michigan on Lake St. Clair.
Oh my God. Yes. Hammer, dude. Yeah! 5-pounder. Give me some. Oh, man. Oh. Look at him.
Yeah! We're talking about, all right, fighter!
Come on.
Shakalaka, giant bass. 51 pounds and 9 ounces he started the day with. 26 pounds, 6 ounces. 26.6 with 77 pounds, 15 ounces. A 2-time Bassmaster Elite Series champion. The amazing fighter man, Seth Feider, gets it done.
Completely jaw-dropping, overwhelming performance from Seth Feider. And the other big trophy handed out here, well, Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year to Scott Canterbury, based on his ability to come up with clutch catches at just the right moments throughout the season.
Come off, in my hand. Man, that's a big one. Golly, that's a giant. That's a giant. Got you! Woo! That's what we're talking about.
Scott Canterbury shoots out the lights.
And consider this, Scott Canterbury did it without winning a single tournament, but look at that record throughout the season. Such consistency, and the only cut missed, the one at Lake Fork. But Scott Canterbury getting it done all season long, setting the table, Lake St. Clair, and getting ready for the crowning moment, accepting one of the most treasured trophies in the sport of bass fishing.
Scott Canterbury joins a league of legends, becoming a Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year. And my friend, that giant gorilla that has been resting on your shoulders the last month and a half, it just fell off, and it's about to be replaced with one of the most coveted trophies in professional angling.
I don't even know what to say. It's unbelievable. You know, I appreciate it, guys. I've been so blessed and just blessed to be here, be part of Bass. I mean, it's been an unbelievable year. Bass just puts on the best show in the world. It's all for the fans. I mean, with Bass, it's unbelievable, guys. And it just proves that dreams can come true.
All right, let's do the handoff. Trip to hand it off. Your 2019 Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, Scott Canterbury. Canterbury crushes them at the Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year and caps off a lifelong dream.
Well, that is what this season is all about. All 9 events heading into this postseason event. Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year. So the final congratulations go to Scott Canterbury, who worked so hard. He did not secure a victory throughout the season, but that's not the point of Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year. He did so many spectacular things on day number 2 just to make cuts, to make this happen for him today.
Just an incredible year. You know, we had a phenomenal year overall, no doubt about it. Brandon Cobb won 2 tournaments. Jamie Hartman won 2 events. But the key to winning Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year is consistency. And Scott Canterbury was that, particularly on day 2. So many times he was that close to not making the cut, but was able to pull it out in the last hour or so, and it saved his season.
Well, those you mentioned there and all the rest of the guys who have made winning ways what it is this year, a terrific group of anglers, all of them, the full field of 75, and we can't wait to get back and work with them again next year. I hope if they can provide us even a fraction of what we've seen this year, it will be well worth our time, and that's when we'll see you next with Winning Ways.